Rapper Nicki Minaj was the apparent target of a swatting call last night at around 7 p.m. The LA County Sheriff's Department received a call claiming an assault with a deadly weapon had occurred at the Grammy winner's Hidden Hills residence.
And it's a lot of rappers behind the scene that want to talk about it and they're scared. But sweetheart, I'm not scared. I'm legendary in these streets. You know how many artists I've spoken to behind the scenes that are too afraid to speak up?
So you'll speak. We'll speak, y'all.
I'm gonna speak because y'all can't touch me. I am completely protected. I am protected by God. Y'all don't see that by now?
You gotta be working with them. As far as I'm concerned, Roc Nation is run by a couple. You know what I'm saying? Why would people think the government don't run businesses? You don't think by right now that they got a major rapper that's a snitch, that's a informant?
Remember when Jay-Z said this?
I think we passed kneeling.
Let me play again. This time, look at the reaction of the lady sat just behind it.
Welcome back to your daily dose of scandal and glamour. Let's spill the tea on today's hottest drama. Nicki Minaj just lit the internet on fire, dropping straight-up receipts and calling out Roc Nation for allegedly running a setup game on rappers. And she didn't hold back, she named names. Jay-Z and Desiree Perez, the convicted criminal-turned-government informant, are at the center of this wild mess. Nicki's not just talking trash, she's connecting real dots. She linked Roc Nation to Tory Lanez's prison sentence, 6ix9ine's snitch label drama, Casanova's RICO charges, and said every single one of those rappers had one thing in common. They all went at Desiree Perez, and it gets way deeper than that. Just when you thought this couldn't get messier, Desiree's own daughter stepped into the spotlight and sided with Nicki. She said her own mother had her thrown into a mental institution for absolutely no reason. That's not just disturbing, it's chilling. So now the question is, if Desiree would allegedly do that to her own child, what's she capable of doing to Nicki? Especially now that Nicki's out here leaking what she claims is real evidence that Roc Nation is cooperating with the government. Yeah, she's straight up saying Roc Nation is working with the feds. And before you brush it off as conspiracy, go dig into the videos of Desiree's daughter spilling tea and notice something real suspicious. Not a single major outlet covered it. Dead silence. That's exactly why Nicki's blasting all this herself. Because if what she's saying is true, then every rapper speaking out might be next on that list, including her. Now let's break down exactly what Nicki Minaj dropped, because this wasn't just some wild rant.
Nicki Minaj was the apparent target of a swatting call last night at around 7 p.m. The LA County Sheriff's Department received a call claiming an assault with a deadly weapon had occurred at the Grammy winner's Hidden Hills residence. The caller claimed somebody had shot at a black female or had shot a black female adult, and two suspects wearing all black were still on the property. But when deputies arrived at Minaj's residence, there was no evidence of any.
Nicki posted a screenshot from a legal document that straight up claims Roc Nation and Desiree Perez have been working with federal authorities to keep tabs on artists and using their legal problems to keep them in check. The document literally labels Desiree as a confidential informant for the feds. And no, this isn't some sketchy DM or rumor from Reddit. This was pulled straight from a lawsuit filed by none other than Desiree Perez's own daughter, Dare Hadley. And the claims? They're insane. According to the court filings, Desiree allegedly forced her daughter into a mental institution without any medical reason. Dare even dropped body cam footage showing the exact moment she was taken away. Shocking and heartbreaking stuff. She says the whole thing was set up by her own mother. Can you believe that? But it gets even more twisted. Dare claims the real reason her mom had her locked up was because she wouldn't leave her husband, Jevin Hadley. Yup, you heard that right. Desiree allegedly used her influence, power, and cash to destroy their marriage. And when Dare refused to divorce Jevon, Desiree threatened to Baker Act her. That's Florida's notorious law that lets someone be thrown into a psych facility, even without consent. This isn't just family drama, it's a full-blown scandal. The Baker Act allows police, mental health workers, or judges to forcibly detain someone for up to 72 hours if they're considered a danger to themselves or others due to mental illness. But what's truly disturbing is what Dare Hadley says.
She has been through some trauma and some abuse with Roc Nation, with Desiree Perez, with other individuals. They've abused her. They've abused of her platform. They've abused of her talents. They've abused of her freedom of speech. They've abused her family. They've attacked her husband. They've attacked her child. And it's sad. It's
was the real reason her mother, Desiree Perez, used that law on her, because her husband, Javon, is black. Yes, you heard that right. Dare's legal complaint straight up accuses Desiree of racism, and not just behind closed doors. Dare says Desiree grabbed her and warned, "I'm going to Baker Act you if you stay with that number. I will have you committed." This is the same Desiree Perez who Jay-Z chose to run Roc Nation, and Dare didn't come empty-handed. She backed her claims with stacks of medical records proving she was in perfect health, sober, mentally stable, and completely clear. No breakdown, no drug use, nothing that would justify locking her up. She even shared all this on X, dropping receipts on top of receipts. In her post, she clapped back at fake blog pages and bot accounts spreading lies, writing, "I had blood work, urine screens, 3 different places on separate occasions. A hair follicle test shows over 3 months of history of any drug use. I have over 10 years of primary care visits. Proof. Full screens. I have never done drugs. I have never drunk alcohol." That's serious proof. And now all this connects right back to Nicki Minaj, who's been warning the industry about Desiree and Jay-Z for years. She's been trying to tell people that something shady was going on behind the scenes. But instead of listening, folks just called her bitter and messy. Remember that tense back and forth between Nicki and Megan Thee Stallion last year? The one with all those diss tracks? Yeah, that wasn't just rap beef. It might have been way deeper than people realized. So here's where it really started to heat up.
Officers arrived at Minaj's home around 6 p.m. to investigate a report that Nicki's 3-year-old son was being abused. After examining the toddler, officers determined he was safe and they left. But another call was made in the early morning hours, and around 3 a.m. Minaj and her family were awakened after a fire was reported at her home. Firefighters arrived and found no flames. Swatting is a term used by law enforcement officials used to describe an act of making a false report in order to get a response from police that can involve an armed SWAT.
Nicki Minaj didn't just clap back with vague shade. She flat out threatened to expose Desiree Perez's dirty business moves. She accused Desiree of firing a bunch of Roc Nation staff for no clear reason and promised to spill it all in her next track. Nicki posted, "On the next song, I delve into all the people Desiree allegedly fired for unknown reasons. So many people were blindsided and hurt by her. Allegedly. She's willing to go broke to try to replace me. Fix it, Jesus." But here's the shocking twist. Those firings weren't random. Word is they were Nicki Minaj fans. Yup, that's right. Folks allegedly lost their jobs just for supporting Nicki. And now, Desiree's own daughter, Dare Hadley, is backing every bit of Nicki's story. Dare says Desiree and Roc Nation have been doing horrific things behind the scenes to try and ruin Nicki's career. Straight sabotage. In a recent interview, Dare didn't hold back. She revealed that Roc Nation even went after her family. She said they targeted her husband and even her young son. That's next level cruel. Dare also said she relates to what Nicki went through, comparing it to her own forced stay in a mental hospital. And she didn't sugarcoat it. She called Desiree and Roc Nation more evil and dangerous than most people could ever imagine. This isn't just a messy business dispute. It's looking like a full-on takedown plot. After seeing Dare Hadley's lawsuit and her emotional interviews, Nicki Minaj finally broke her silence, and she did not hold back. She jumped on X and sent a direct message to all the doubters and critics who claimed she was making things up. Nicki fired off, "To the PMs who claim it wasn't made clear to your ugly asses, hopefully Dare's massive and detailed page-by-page claim gets you all the way caught up. And, never call me a liar. Never insinuated either." Then she took it up a notch, adding, "Every single angel ever created fights for me at the mere mention of that word as it relates to me. Vengeance is the Lord's. Be careful. No one who conspired on the wrong side will go unpunished for the role they played in this movie. I hope it was all worth it." Nicki wasn't just venting. She confirmed it outright. Roc Nation allegedly went after her husband and child. She said there are powerful people still trying to tear her family apart, and she's had enough. Now here comes the part that's straight up chilling. Remember when Nicki's house kept getting swatted last year, starting around mid-2023? That wasn't just some random prank. According to Nicki, it was all part of Roc Nation's twisted scheme to break her down. The first time it happened, someone called police and claimed Nicki was harming her child. LAPD rushed over, but after a full check, they found nothing. Hours later, there was another fake call, this time claiming there was a fire at Nicki's home. And if that wasn't disturbing enough, just weeks later, it happened again. This time, someone called in saying Nicki had been shot. Cops stormed in once more. And again, no crime, no signs, no nothing. Nicki says this wasn't random. It was a calculated attack. And it's looking more and more like someone really wanted to break her spirit, or worse. According to the LA Times, the LA County Sheriff's Department got a chilling 911 call about a violent incident in Hidden Hills. The caller claimed a friend had shot a black woman, but when authorities pulled up, they realized it was just another swatting stunt. And guess what? A neighbor confirmed to the LA Times that law enforcement had responded directly to Nicki Minaj's house. So let's be real, this wasn't a random prank. This was coordinated, repeated, and clearly meant to shake Nicki to her core. And all of it went down during the exact time Nicki was publicly calling out Roc Nation and hinting that something much darker was happening behind the scenes. So when Desiree Perez's own daughter says Roc Nation is willing to destroy anyone who steps out of line, and when Nicki starts getting swatted, with her child involved, it makes you wonder, was this part of a bigger plan? Was Roc Nation sending a message loud and clear? Because at this point, it doesn't feel like a coincidence. Not at all. Let's not forget, Desiree Perez doesn't exactly have a squeaky clean record. She has a very shady past, and Nicki may have become a target the moment she started speaking the truth that others were too scared to say out loud. Nicki put it all on the line, exposing what she believes is the real truth, that Roc Nation isn't just about music, but maybe acting as a front for federal operations that target rappers. And guess who's right in the middle of all this? Desiree Perez, once a convicted criminal, now allegedly a full-on government informant, according to the investigative X account, resists programming. It's not just beef anymore. It's bigger than anyone thought. Back in 1994, Desiree Perez got busted big time, arrested for possession of 35 kilos of cocaine and charged with conspiracy to distribute illegal substances. According to court records uncovered by the New York Daily News, federal prosecutors said she was part of a major drug operation stretching all the way from New York to Florida to Puerto Rico. But Desiree wasn't running solo in this game. Her husband, Juan O.G. Perez, was in it too. And here's where it gets extra messy. Juan isn't just anybody. He's one of Jay-Z's closest friends. These two go way back. In the mid-90s, they even co-founded the 40/40 Club together. Years later, Jay-Z would make Juan the president of Roc Nation Sports, and to this day, their families are still tight. Now let's go back to that cocaine case. You're probably wondering, what kind of sentence does someone get for being caught with 35 kilos? Surprisingly, Desiree didn't go to prison. She got 5 years of probation. Why? Because she flipped and became a federal informant. Yeah, she wore a wire and helped the feds take down her former crew. According to a 2014 article from the New York Daily News, the government was so impressed, they actually called Desiree their star mole. The same report described her as a Manhattan nightclub boss with a long criminal record and deep ties to hip-hop power players, especially Jay-Z. The feds even said she had a wild past as a DEA cooperating witness, and at one point, she was even a fugitive on the run. And while Desiree eventually got pardoned, that doesn't mean the informant work ever really stopped. People are now asking, if she was so good at playing both sides back then, who's to say she isn't still doing it now, just on a much bigger stage? Nicki Minaj is going all in. She's openly calling both Desiree Perez and Jay-Z government snitches. According to Nicki, Roc Nation isn't just a record label. It's a full-blown federal front, created to set up rappers and keep the entire hip-hop scene under tight government control. And if you think that's far-fetched, she's pointing straight at names and cases to back it up. Let's talk about one of the biggest examples. Tory Lanez. He was convicted in December 2022 for allegedly shooting Megan Thee Stallion. But even during the trial, things weren't adding up. There were serious cracks in the prosecution's case. For starters, gunshot residue tests didn't match the story that Tory pulled the trigger. And the bullet fragments that were supposedly removed from Megan's foot, they mysteriously disappeared. A doctor testified that he had removed bullet fragments from her foot, but Detective Stogner, who was on the case, told the court they couldn't be found anywhere. That's a major red flag. On top of that, multiple witnesses claimed it wasn't Tory who fired the shots. Some even said it was a woman. Tory's legal team raised all kinds of questions about the bullet trajectory, who actually had the weapon, and what happened to the evidence. Then things got even wilder. Before his sentencing, Tory publicly accused Roc Nation of setting him up, and right after the guilty verdict, His father lost it outside the courthouse, shouting to the cameras that Desiree Perez, Jay-Z, and Roc Nation trade and barter the souls of young men. Whether people believe it or not, these aren't just random accusations anymore. They're part of a much bigger and darker picture that Nicki's been trying to expose. But Tory Lanez isn't the only one caught in this web. Just like Nicki Minaj warned, any rapper who dares to speak out against Roc Nation seems to end up in legal trouble. And it's starting to look like a pattern too obvious to ignore. Take 6ix9ine. He got dragged through the mud and branded the ultimate snitch after cooperating with the feds during his RICO case. But what people never seem to mention? He also clashed with Roc Nation and teamed up with Nicki to publicly call out Desiree Perez. The moment he stepped out of line, the full weight of the backlash came crashing down. Then there's Casanova, another rapper with ties to Roc Nation who got hit with federal RICO charges. But his case? The timing was suspicious. Casanova had just started to speak out against how Roc Nation handles business. And only months later, boom, the feds showed up. Even the way his indictment played out followed the same formula Nicki's been trying to expose. Lock artists into tight contracts, control their every move, and if they push back, burn them. But here's where it gets really wild. According to Nicki, the list of people affected isn't just about rappers anymore. She's got more names, a lot more. We're talking managers, executives, media insiders, even judges. And the rumor, if Nicki decides to unleash everything she's holding back, we could be witnessing Roc Nation's downfall in real time. This isn't just music industry drama anymore. It's starting to look like a full-blown expose on an empire. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to stay in the loop with all the latest tea. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an update, and I'll catch you in the next video.